Go ahead.
In accordance with NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was provided by the Board Secretary to the Daily Record and published on October 30. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, my goodness.
Here. Hold
What's the date? What's the date? For some reason I got 2015 here. December 6th, 2019, by stating the time, place, and date of all regularly scheduled meetings, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. A copy of this shall be included with the minutes of this meeting. Nora, please call the roll.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Here.
Mr. Kaplan.
Here.
Mr. Parikh.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Present.
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Chairman Ira Kane.
Present.
We also have our board attorney, Mr. King.
Present.
Board planner, Mr. Chadwick.
Present.
And our board engineer, Mr.
Here.
Holloway.
Okay, let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point in this evening's meeting, is there any member of the public, has any business to be brought to this board that's not on this evening's agenda? Please come forward. Do whatever you like, but just state your name and your address for the record.
Nicholas Homiak, 2609 Lake Hiawatha.
2609 what?
Say again?
2609 what, sir?
Oneida, he said.
2609.
Oneida.
Oh, Oneida. I'm sorry. I thought you said
Oh,
09.
Indian tribe.
Thank you. Yep, got it.
I have 3 questions here. When any proposal comes before this board, how do we know the difference, the proposal that involves affordable housing, excuse me, how do we know the difference between a regional or a local housing demand, and when will or who will tell us when we're overdoing it in the wrong places? And I ask this because there allegedly was some science involved to where these affordable units were to be placed, where you live, where you work, where you have to shop. The other question is...
Can we answer that question first? Can we answer that question first? Can you
Yes,
answer
sir.
that first question?
I haven't looked at what the
Well,
agreement is.
first of all, most of the affordable housing is either going to be handled by the planning board or the council. We only get the stuff that falls off the back of the truck. And that's where an applicant who is not part of the global plan for the town comes to us and offers us some affordable housing in consideration for the things he wants to do.
And it's a ratio from the settlement that the town had with,
Yeah, and there's a ratio. But as to location in the town, I have no idea.
All right, then my second question would be, is do these proposals before this zoning board contradict, or are they out of step in any way with Parsippany's master plan when it comes to affordable housing?
Let me just chime in on this.
Go right
The township's certified plan from the courts, because that's where it ended up, was done on a realistic development potential. And what that means is the town does not have enough land, under the court's view, to accommodate all of the housing units that were assigned to it by the court. So there's a number of units that haven't been included in the plan. But by getting their settlement, if someone comes forward with a proposal that has affordable units and is not part of the zoning, they have the benefit of that action of the court. Doesn't mean it's gonna get approved, but that's how it works.
All right?
It's
And
not a simple concept, and I know you nodded your head, but
I-
you do
yeah,
understand it's an outstanding balance that has to be addressed.
But there is a zoning for affordable housing in this
Correct.
town is,
Right.
okay. And my last question, is this board aware that Parsippany is in a water deficit? And is there now a water quality management plan in effect to accommodate the affordable housing zoning?
That is what they call a durational limitation. Lots of towns in New Jersey don't have the sewer capacity, don't have the water capacity, may not even have the power capacity, mean electric. That doesn't prevent, it doesn't prevent the town from not adopting ordinances. The court requires them to adopt the ordinances. The fact that there aren't the utilities to serve them is what they call a durational adjustment. And so if it isn't there, they can't go forward.
Every
Simple as that.
application is subject to having those utilities and being able
And
to.
the first part of my question, is this board aware that Parsippany is in a water deficit?
I am, yes.
Yes,
All right.
yes, I am.
All right.
But you have to remember too, that the bulk of the affordable housing it's in the works, will never come past our desks. Will never come past that microphone, because we're not involved in it. It's planning board, and it's the council, and it's the
Then-
mayor.
Is there any conceivable reason that a development proposal including affordable housing should not be presented to this board?
I don't think we can prevent it.
No, people can present the development with housing units in it for affordable housing and or others, and they do that, and there's certain ratios that if they're going to build residential, that there has to be a certain number of affordable.
And the more the better. All right, then,
Well,
thank
I wouldn't say the more the better.
Well, I would. If you need affordable housing, why would you want to not have affordable housing and have
Well,
other
what
types of
if you get to the point where you just can't handle all the housing that's in this town?
Exactly.
Okay, and you can't handle it in schools, and you can't handle it in the traffic, and we're just gonna keep building and building and building because somebody thinks that's a great idea. I personally don't think that's a good idea, but that's a whole nother issue.
All right, thank you for allowing me to ask questions.
Anytime, Nick, take care, have a nice day.
All right.
Any resolutions, Nora?
No.
No. We're gonna go right into the residential cases. Application 1953, Camelcant Shah, 24 Erica Way, seeking a variance to legalize a front walk patio. Please come forward.
Are you both going to give testimony? Are you, who's going to give testimony? Both?
My house is under my,
So are you both going to give testimony, yes or no?
yes,
Okay. If you could both raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the board is the truth so help you God? Okay. Yes?
Yes.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, sir?
Kamal Khan and Shah.
And it's, and ma'am?
Meena Venkatesh.
You gotta
And,
speak into the microphones, okay? So sit down and relax.
and how do you spell your name, ma'am?
MEENA BEN. Middle name K. Last.
Okay. And you're the owners of the subject property? Okay. They're sworn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you wanna legalize a 108 square foot front walk, 1,003 square foot patio with rear stairs and decorative walls. You're requesting impervious coverage of 50.57, where existing is 35.22, and allowed is 40. Now, is all of this work already done? The patio and the stairs and everything is already in place?
Yeah.
I don't know how it could be 35.22 existing.
Did you put it in, or did you buy it like that?
No, we put it in.
What's in the utility easement?
Right?
What's in the utility easement that your patio covers part of it?
Easement, what is the easement in the
What is the,
pat?
Is it electric, gas, what is it?
we,
You,
there is no electric or gas in patio?
He doesn't know what the
Yeah,
easement
there's
is.
an easement, there's either electric lines or a gas
No,
line.
there is nothing.
Electrical, that means we put the bulb on the patio.
No,
But
it's,
we don't have
they're
this-
not talking about what you did for your patio. They're talking about there's land that you own, that there's an easement which allows a utility to put piping or wiring underneath.
No.
How do you know the answer is no?
No.
No, you-
You don't know the answer.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they know what the easement is.
No, they don't.
When you built it, did anybody come out and put little flags in your backyard that was
No.
a gas line or a water line or
Did you,
something?
did you call for anyone to do that?
No, I
Because
didn't.
I'm thinking they just did it and nobody knew
Absolutely.
about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So nobody would
probably
put
didn't know
flags.
there was an easement.
So they looked up.
Yeah.
They needed it.
How did you end up here? How did,
We wanted to, like,
who told you to
rebuild it.
come here?
We filed an application for, we want to renovate and build it because it's already broken, most of the places.
You built it,
Yeah.
it's broken, and you want to rebuild it, so
Yeah.
now you came for the permit.
But you never had a permit before?
No.
You never took a permit? Did you take a permit for the patio too, in the back?
Well, I didn't know that, we didn't take the patio.
So that should be included here too, probably, because the whole big patio is in the backyard, and they never took a permit for that, and all this sidewalk and other things that you're doing, right?
It says 1,003 foot
Yeah.
foot patio. It says
Did you-
it in the,
Did you get an answer how they ended up here?
No.
they can't, they want to redo it, so they came for a permit.
Right.
You know, this is one of those lots that the builder got maximum lot coverage to build on as part of the affordable housing deal we did with Newark many years ago. And unfortunately, the original building was, and whatever, was at the max. I mean, they covered the maximum amount of,
Coverage, impervious.
Impervious?
They didn't do the
The
maximum.
the footprint was the max, the buildable space. And I'm sure this is one of those areas where we've granted a number of variances for
Decks.
decks, right, Mr. Chadwick?
Yes, I don't think we've granted variances where they were in a utility easement.
No, no. Well, the risk that they have is we give them a variance, if anything ever has to get dealt with, they have to understand that the utility's gonna dig it up.
Yep.
I mean, the other issue is that the people who own the rights to those easements, they could tell them to remove it, and
Yes.
many times they do.
He's got 5% to play with, though, right? He's got 35. He's allowed 40.
He's
This
at
is what he
50.
has right now?
No,
No,
Right.
proposal is 50.
What I'm saying though is,
Yeah.
I
if
think
we
he's already at 50.
if we chop off that part that's in the easement, doesn't that bring him closer to where it should be? And then he's
Yeah.
not in the easement.
I'm trying to figure out where the
Why don't we
easement
Oh,
just do
is
that?
and where.
There's two easements, it
Yeah,
looks
there's
like.
two. There's a
See
utility,
the
and then he's
one.
got a
He doesn't-
25 easement for
He doesn't-
landscapes.
He doesn't
Yeah, it's
encroach in
kind
the
of an odd
buffer
easement.
area. He encroaches in the utilities, and we don't know what it is.
This is one of these, this, like this.
And did you notice
This is
the
other
utility
easement,
to
comes
be
all the
here?
way through.
No, I
Did they,
didn't.
nor did they notice the utility?
All the utilities were noticed, yes.
Yeah, we don't notice it.
Well-
Do we have the right to grant this on an easement?
No.
Okay.
There you go.
What's
Chop
that?
it off. Chop it off the easement, and we're done.
Right. So it's a very
Just
easy
shrink
case
it a
for us.
little
It
bit.
looks like it's just a corner, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just that corner. I'd,
Just stop.
round it out, get off the easement. you're done.
Well, then they're getting still have to get a variance for impervious coverage.
Well,
It's less than
correct,
what
but
it
it
showed.
shrinks it back closer
it's
to the 40.
Do you want to explain to me?
Yeah, I think what the board's concluding is, as Pete said, you can't grant an easement, a variance to the easement anyway. So if you approve it, you just approve it subject to removal of all impervious in the easement.
Yeah.
That would be it.
I think that's a reasonable compromise.
Do you understand what we're saying? We cannot give you a variance to build over the utility easement. The utility could come and just ask you to remove it. So what we're suggesting is you carve out that piece, that the small piece that's appears to be in the utility easement, and then that will alleviate that part of the issue, and then we'll give you a variance for all the rest of it.
We don't know where is the electric utility because we noticed the all utility company.
It's right here. It's right on your survey.
Uh-huh.
It's right on your survey. And you may need a surveyor to come out and mark it out for you, or an engineer or somebody familiar with this drawing, and trim that patio a little bit so that you're not in the utility easement.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to find any surveyor and trim that patio.
However you go about cutting off that corner, you have the information. It's right on your survey.
Okay,
However you decide to mark that out, we're going to give you a variance saying you're going to mark out that piece.
Yeah.
Therefore, when the zoning officer comes to look at it after you've built it, he's going to look at it, and if it doesn't conform to this drawing, he's going to have a problem. So,
Sure.
whatever professional you need,
Mhm.
is whether it's an engineer or a surveyor, to tell you where you can build.
Right.
Chairman, does somebody go out there after it's done?
Yeah. Yeah,
You sure?
As far as I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, Nora's saying no.
No, they don't.
No,
Oh,
zoning
come
does
on!
not
I
go
know
out.
they've done it.
No, unless it's a code enforcement case, zoning does not go out to make sure the work is, where it was approved to be. They're not surveyors, they don't
So less,
know.
what you're saying is unless somebody complains.
Right.
Yes.
Unless somebody complains.
Right.
Do you
Can
understand?
we put that
So
in
what
the
we can do?
resolution?
Yeah, we're going to put the resolution. We're granting them the variance with the exception of the piece of the utility.
And that it will be reviewed.
You have to-
somebody go out there.
Right.
This
Oh,
is-
have
this is
somebody-
Yeah, have
easement,
someone go out
right?
there.
This is easement. You
No
have to
can
cut
do?
off
I
this
won't
piece,
approve it
that's
unless
what it
there's,
is.
there's checks and balances.
Cut off, this piece.
This much, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I
right?
will talk to them.
This, yeah, this
This
portion.
piece right here. Just that.
This piece
No.
You're not encroaching on it. See that where I just colored in? That's what you have to remove.
Yeah.
This portion.
Just that.
Take this one.
Okay, any other questions by the board?
So we have to call the surveyor to come for that, or this we can?
Well, the first thing you're going to do is you'll get the paperwork that says we've approved something, okay? And then probably your best bet is to have someone come out who's knowledgeable in the land and can tell you where those lines have to be drawn. Or if you have a contractor who is savvy enough to read it, and he knows, you're going to have a contractor do this, or you're going to do it yourself?
No, we are contractor to do it.
Well, you might be able to just use him and show him what has to be done, and that that corner has to be adjusted.
This corner has to be cut it down.
Do we want to wait for those plans so we can include it in the resolution?
Okay, so then we can come back.
I don't know.
Would we want our engineer, because what he's proposing now, the percentage is going to be changed, so in the resolution, I can't put in a, what is proposed is, or what his limit is.
Why don't we just say you grant the variance as
Subject to.
shown on the survey with the removal of any impervious surface in the easement?
Okay. And do we want,
And proof that that occurs.
Yeah,
do you want to review the plan he's going to
sure.
present? And also subject to you reviewing?
I mean, all he's gotta do is write a note on there, remove pavement within easement.
Both,
This is
both
not rocket
easements?
science.
Or there's the utility one, what about,
The
it looks like,
utility, it doesn't encroach on the buffer.
No.
No.
It's right up on the edge, but it doesn't encroach.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah, we wanna specify it to the
Yep,
utility
as much as
easement.
possible.
Can we just embed in the resolution that, that the documentation must be done properly with a professional?
Yes.
Okay, and then we can move on with this? Because I hate to have, people come back for, 20 square feet of patio blocks. All right, any members of the public have any questions of these witnesses on the testimony given? I hear none and see none. There's nothing else you'd like, is there any member of the public who wishes to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none and see none. You're good, you understand everything? Okay. Someone like to make a recommendation?
I'll make it. I will agree to this variance with the stipulations that Mr. King stated, that you will make the adjustments, take the impervious coverage off of the easement, and that we'll be able to document, and that John Chadwick sees it and we get it all approved.
Okay, someone frame a resolution?
I can do it. Application number 1953, Kamalkant Shaw, 24 Erica Way, Block 734.04, Lot 4, in the PRD2 zone. I recommend that we grant a C variance to legalize the 108 square foot front walk and the now less than 1,003 square foot patio with rear stairs and decorative wall contrary to section 430-35, column 13, subject to Mr. Chadwick's, I don't know what, review and, getting the patio out of the utility easement.
Second ready.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll?
Mr. Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Reddy?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Chairman Iricky?
Yes. Result is the variance is granted. We'll memorialize this in 2 weeks and you'll be free to proceed. But in the meantime, start looking for a surveyor or somebody that can help you out. Okay? Good luck. Thank you. All right, case number 1959, Ratan Patel. Variance to construct 2 8-foot by 12-foot sheds.
So you raise your right hand, you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board is true self you got? And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Sanjay Patel.
And you're the owner of the subject property?
Yes.
And you're not Ratan Patel, you're Sanjay?
Yes. I'm the husband. She's my wife.
Okay.
Oh, she's your wife. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, you're looking for building coverage.
Yes.
I don't understand how they add. Are the sheds there now, or are you gonna?
No, one shed is there.
One shed?
Yes. One broke down, so we want to build the other one, but we changed the position from one end to the other end. But we haven't built it yet.
You have 2 sheds right now?
One shed.
You have 1 shed.
Yeah. We had 2.
You
one
had
broke
2.
down.
One got no longer there.
Where's the one that fell down? I mean, roughly, it's
So
in your
both the
backyard
shades-
I think
someplace?
it's on the other.
Both
there's two-
sheds were next to each other.
2 drawings. There's 2 drawings. One is actual and one's proposed.
Oh, okay.
So you had 2 sheds that were along the property line as you look from the street. They were on the
On the
right-hand side,
Yes.
in the back. So now, and it looks like they were pretty close to the property line, 2 feet. So you're proposing 2 96 square foot sheds. One's gonna be on the right side, one's gonna be on the left side. They're both gonna be in the setback, which is okay, they're gonna be set back the proper amount. Can you just, I mean, you have a relatively large house. Can you just tell us why you need 2 sheds?
Because I have equipments like snow blower and everything, and my garage is full. I have 3 cars, so
How
I
many-
need
how
two
many
more.
cars?
3 cars.
3 cars.
Yeah.
So you can't, your storage is limited in your garage,
Yes.
okay?
What was the reason for moving it from one side of the yard to the other?
So we wanted to keep the summer equipment on one side and the winter one on the other side, so that we can, take the snow blowers out.
Would you speak into the microphone, please? Speak into your mic
Take
when you
mic.
talk.
You want me to repeat it?
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you said.
Okay, so we wanted to have one as a winter shed and one as a summer shed, so that it's easy for us to access it.
Have you talked to your neighbors about the placement? Have you have any?
Yes.
Neighbors have any problems?
No, not that we know of. We also took the signatures from neighborhood, so they are okay.
Everybody's been made aware of.
So what's going on here? One of the sheds collapsed. Was that the bigger one or the little one?
It was the smaller one.
Smaller one. The bigger one, you're gonna keep?
Yes.
Now, that does not look like the same shape as what you show as your new sheds. That one looks like a square. You're gonna move it off the property line?
The smaller one was a square, which we broke down, which was
So-
a metal one.
So maybe I can help out here. So the shed that collapsed, is it the closest one to your back property line? Or is it the furthest one from your back property
Closest to
line?
the building,
It is the furthest one.
closer to
The
the building.
so the small, okay, so do you have like a somewhat of a black roof on your second shed that is still standing?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just get some clarification? So the existing building coverage is 17.39%. That's assuming both sheds, correct? What I'm trying to figure out is how do we have the existing at 17.39? The proposed is less than that, but you're adding a bigger shed.
So existing is consisting of 2 sheds.
Right, but the small shed broke down. He's
Yeah.
adding a bigger shed,
Right.
and the building coverage has decreased.
Yeah,
When you look at the plan that shows the 2 sheds 12 by 8, and then you look at the plan that shows the sheds as they exist, the bigger one is the remaining one.
Okay.
Somehow or other, it didn't get translated to what the proposal is. That's the problem. That's where your answer is to, how did it get less coverage? It's not.
So what's the actual proposed?
Yep.
Is it
I
the
would,
same?
I would think that it's probably going to stay the same, because the littler shed looks to be roughly,
It's not gonna be.
it's not 8 by 12, it's,
8 by
because
10.
it looks like it's square, so it's probably 8 by 10.
It says 10 by 10 in
Yeah,
the-
but
10 by 10?
10 by 10 and a 12 by 10, we're adding
So
a
it's
second
4
12.
square feet difference. So the coverage is pretty much going to be the same. I think you're right.
yeah.
We're talking a tenth of a percent, maybe,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
a hundredth of a
Yeah,
percent.
it's like maybe 4 or 5 square feet.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not,
I
not
don't,
worth spending a lot
you
of
know,
time
we're,
on, but
I try not to dwell on some of these, some of this minutia, because no one's ever gonna know whether it's 17.8
No,
or.
I agree, but I-
18.2.
I needed to know before I vote why it went down
No,
when
I
it's
know,
getting bigger.
it's sloppy. and-
Yeah.
And, or at least there should be an explanation as to why these things are the way they are.
I think the important thing is, the existing shed is going to be moved away from the fence, correct?
The existing shed is, I think, 4 feet away from the fence.
Well, according to your
But that's
your
not
survey,
here.
it's 2 feet,
2 feet.
and it has to be 6 feet. So you're gonna have to move it to 6 feet.
The existing one. So I'll have to just break it down and build it again.
I'm sorry, what?
Is it on a concrete slab or is it just?
It's on a slab. It's on the blocks. Not slab.
It has
It's on a
no
block.
foundation?
Concrete block. It doesn't have a foundation.
Oh, it's just tubes? Yeah.
Well, any resolution is gonna be for two sheds at 12 by 8. They're gonna be 6 foot off the property
Yep.
line side yard.
That's not what he has.
No, he
Well,
has 2 feet.
that's what he's
I
proposing.
know.
And that's what it's gonna happen, and what's gonna happen if it's not in accordance with what you've proposed, then you're gonna have to tear it down. Cause you proposed this, so if you're gonna amend it, you have to amend it now, or, withdraw it
Well,
and come back.
It's an existing 2 feet. And it's been 2 feet. So if it's gonna stay 2 feet, then is that a major?
Well,
major-
you would have to get another variance. He
Well,
hasn't asked for that.
He can ask for that, and then see what the board thinks. Because obviously the shed can't be moved.
You're not buying 2 new sheds, you're only buying 1.
No, we have 2 new sheds.
Two new
New
sheds.
sheds.
Yes,
12 by 8.
12 by 8.
And you're removing 10 by 10 and 12 by 12.
Yes.
So you,
You already installed it out there?
One is already installed there at the same location.
Is it 6 feet or 2
You'll
feet?
wind up with 3.
The new one. I think this is where the confusion is. You have
Okay.
2 brand new sheds.
Okay.
The old one was 2 feet off the property line.
Okay.
Did
Can I
you
come
put
back
the
to you
new
on that?
one 6 feet off?
Can I come back to you on that? How far is that one? Because my
So
wife
you want
handled
another
it.
meeting?
I was not there.
Defer to you if he's
wanna
asking to
carry
come back.
You wanna carry
Yeah,
the case? Is
yeah.
that what you wanna do? You wanna
No,
carry?
I can inform how far is it from the fence, because I'm not aware right now.
Yeah, this
I do think
paperwork-
we need
Why
to
don't
know
we-
that, because we're gonna need a
All right,
variance. for it.
why don't we hold off in this case, we'll hear the other residentials, and maybe you can get the information then, to tell us what, it's gotta be 6 feet, or you gotta ask for another variance, okay? Because that's what you put on your plans, and that's what everybody has seen. All right, we'll just suspend this case, and you see if you can find out, can you call your wife, or
Sure.
I can send her out in the back with a Stanley tape measure or something?
Tape measure.
Not the new shed,
The
the
new-
new shed
the new-
says 6 feet.
Yes.
He's double talk. He's double talk.
He doesn't know exactly.
No.
Okay, case 1962. 1962. Marisa thank you. I have enough trouble with my name.
Who's gonna provide testimony? Okay, could you both raise your right hand? Do you swear from testimony you're about to give before the board's true self you got? And for the record, can you state and spell your name, sir?
Sure. Eric, E-R-I-C, last name is Hoover, H-O-O-V-E-R.
And your name, ma'am? And you're the owners of the subject property?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're sworn to sit, and please speak into the microphone.
Okay, so you're want variance, construct a 510 square foot patio, 190 square foot front walk, and a 12 by 16 foot shed. You're proposing a 3-foot setback on the shed. You have a de minimis request for building coverage, and a not so bad request for impervious coverage. So, as we look at your drawing, you're on a 15,000 square foot lot on Westminster Drive. Mr. Chadwick, is that it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Just for information purposes, your lot is an R3 lot, but you sit in an R2 zone. Because the fathers of the town many years ago thought this was gonna be a cool thing for the zoning board to deal with, okay? Am I wrong? So if you were in an R3 zone, a lot of the stuff that comes into play doesn't come into play. And we've approved numerous variances on Westminster and the other roads that are in that general area. Why do you need the 3-foot setback on the shed?
That was mainly due to the existing tree root system in the backyard, and we didn't want to disturb the trees that are there.
Good answer.
What's in back of you?
And back of us is township property.
Yeah, it's open.
Okay,
That's-
all right,
that's all
thank you, yeah,
That's
I
all
think-
that open space,
Yep.
that's how they
Mhm.
created the R3 from R2. Okay, so you've got no neighbor behind that's really gonna care. There might be a couple of chipmunks back there that you might be displacing, but we're not gonna worry about that.
Unless they're here tonight
Unless they're here
speak
to
in
object, I
opposition.
don't know. Okay, in the building coverage, you're allowed 10.66, you're proposing 11.56. That's 0.9%. 1% of your property would be 150 square feet. So you're asking for like 140 square foot of additional building coverage, right? Ballpark?
Ballpark, yes.
Okay. And the impervious coverage, you're allowed 20, and you're proposing 23. Paver block patios? Okay. Are you going to have drainage between things, or are you going to, you know, when these patios are put down, they tend to have seams, and there's some water that goes through, so it's not really 100% pervious. Yes, that's what you're gonna do? Is there any?
I believe so.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's whatever.
Are you gonna
whatever
sit on
is
concrete, or are you gonna sit on stones and gravel?
I think it's gravel.
Okay.
Pavers?
It'll drain some.
Yeah,
They
it'll,
use some kind of sand in between the gravel.
right.
I'm not sure
You
what.
still get some drainage.
It's better when the water runs through.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions by the board?
No.
Nope.
Any members of the public have any questions of these witnesses on the testimony given? I hear none, see none. There's nothing else you'd like to add, right?
Nothing else.
Okay, good. Any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition, in support of? Hear none and see none. Someone like to make a recommendation so we can move forward?
Yeah, I'll make a recommendation. It's de minimis in nature for the enjoyment of the family to enjoy their home more, and I will be voting for it.
Thank you. Somebody frame a resolution?
Sure I will, Mr. Chair.
Thank
In
you.
application 19:62 Marissa, 64 Westminster Drive, Block 741, Lot 39, Zone R2, that we grant a C variance to construct a patio, front walk, and shed contrary to Section 430-10C, Section 430-35, columns 10 and 13.
Second ready?
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Kaplan.
Yes.
Mr. Preak.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Chairman Irick.
Yes. Result is a variance is granted. We will memorialize this in 2 weeks, and then you'll be free to proceed. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, our friend is back. He might have
Yes, Mr.
Patel.
Patel. What do we find out, Mr. Patel? It's 4 feet,
So,
and that's existing. And the shed, and one of the 2 new sheds now sits 4 feet off the property line.
Asking for a variance.
It's not right for getting our panels that are not over, really. I know.
Violate and apologize later.
Well, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. Don't ever forget that.
I don't drink that Kool-Aid.
But is it one that's 4 and the other one still has to be
The other
built?
one's gonna be 6, right?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the existing one is 4?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah,
one is
existing.
4.
The new one's gonna be 6, Nancy.
New one's gonna be 6.
Okay, so the new one's not out there yet, am I correct?
Yes,
Okay,
you're
then I'm right.
Well, no, one new one's out
One new
there,
one's out there.
and the other one's not.
No, okay. The one collapsed. The one
it's
The
still
one
there.
closest to the main structure, your house, collapsed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the one in back of it is still there.
So that broke down. At the same location, we put another shed at the same
I
location.
don't understand, help me out.
You have
Is
The-
it
the
me?
bo- he's saying
Two
both
new
sheds,
Right.
So
both fell
sheds
apart,
fell.
Yes.
and he put a new shed in the second one behind the
I got
white.
it.
Why'd you
got
put
it.
that one in
I
and
got
not
it.
wait for the permit, but you waited for the permit for the second one?
I guess he thought it was already there.
Bad
A lot of
But
people
it's a
think
bigger
that way.
shed.
A lot of people think that way. Just because it's there, it's,
This we wanted to move from one location to another.
okay.
If it's up on blocks, how could it have been 2 feet off the property line and now it's 4 feet? So I don't know how it shifted.
The last,
Was it measured against the fence?
the last earthquake moved it over.
The size is different. Look at the size.
Just,
Okay, we're ready?
The paperwork's sloppy, the story's sloppy.
no, this is
I don't know.
dimension here.
Nora, when this
Yes?
application goes through, would you please ask one of the zoning officers to go over and inspect the property to to make sure that one of them's 4 feet and one of them's 6 feet?
Okay,
You can do that, right?
sure.
And then we're gonna make that part of the resolution?
Yep.
Is that all right, Nancy?
Yep.
You agree? Everybody agrees?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? You're good? You're good now? Okay. Any questions of this witness by the members of the public? I hear none and see none. Nothing else you'd like to add, right? No? Okay, good. Any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none and see none. Someone like to make a recommendation, please?
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Since you're agreeing that we'll make one 4 and the other one 6, and you're really not affecting anybody, I will be voting for it.
Okay. Someone frame a resolution?
I can do it.
Good.
Application 19:59, Ratan Patel, 4 Ulysses Street, Block 404, Lot 10, under Zone R-3 to issue or grant a C variance to construct 2 sheds contrary to Section 430-35, Column 10, subject to, in contingence to the zoning officer visit the place and approve the location.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Mr. Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Prasad? Nope. Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Reddy?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Chairman Irakane?
Yes. The results of variance is granted. We'll memorialize this in 2 weeks, and you're gonna be under some conditions to make sure you do it right, so. Good luck.
Thank you.
A little bit of a learning experience for you tonight, right? Okay. Now we get into the fun stuff. Mr. O'Neill, what are you gonna do first? Powdermill Plaza West, okay.
I have to step down.
Yeah, but don't go away,
I won't go away.
unless we're bogged down at 9:45 and you can leave.
That's 9:45. Thanks.
Hey,
go get that.
We gotta get another. Nancy, you guys are right. The shit we're getting with these numbers doesn't make sense. How can somebody produce that and look at it? It's, you can make a mistake in the calculation, but if the lower one is the higher one, then
It's almost like
yeah. Or explain it. Because we're not going out there.
Right, we're not
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joseph for the applicant, Highview Homes. This is the property currently known as Powder Mill West Shopping Plaza. This is a continuing application. We provided quite a bit of testimony prior to this, and
O'Neill.
in that regard.
Mr. O'Neill.
They're not hearing you, but see if that's working, Joe.
Is this on, Norm?
It is.
Let's put it closer to you.
So we're here to answer a couple of questions. The one question I'd like to start out with the board's permission, is regarding turning radii through the parking lot and around the building for emergency vehicles. Also, we'll discuss some of the open questions regarding the site plan. I have with me here again, Mr. McClellan, who was previously sworn.
I think this is not working.
It's working. You need to pull it closer. That's all.
He's gonna testify right now.
The turning radius around the parking lot.
Good evening, everybody. We have an exhibit tonight, which is the plan that we had presented before you with one modification. The board will recall that we had modified the plan to take away the tunnel that was originally planned underneath the access driveway. So this plan represents that updated layout, and just for the board's information, this plan proposes 411 parking spaces, where the previous version of the plan proposed 413 parking spaces. So the modification costs us 2 spaces. We are required by RSIS to have 332, so we're still greatly in excess.
Can you mark that, please, as exhibit A9 for this evening?
Just for the record, Mr. Casey has listened to the tape, okay?
Yes.
So he can vote, all right? He's listened to all the testimony. Mr. Parikh.
Okay, and then for identification purposes, we have a title down at the bottom where we simply call this fire truck turning exhibit number 1, and it has a date of February 3rd, 2020. And basically, it's hard to see from a distance, but what we did is we ran a simulation of a fire ladder truck through the property. The simulation brings the fire truck down to the front of the building, goes along the front, around the easterly side of the property, around to the back, along the back, and then the truck can also successfully make the turns on the west side and get her back around to the front of the building, and then to exit the site. So this layout does allow for emergency services vehicles, including a ladder truck, a fire ladder truck, to traverse the property completely around the building.
Mr. McClellan, there were also some questions concerning removal of what was shown to be a tunnel under the entranceway.
Yes, sir.
That's changed the parking configuration and the wall configuration. We did run through the walls before, but why don't you run through it all again?
Certainly. Again, the tunnel that was originally proposed connected the front parking lots on either side of the access boulevard. We had an opportunity to try to do that because we had the clearance underneath the driveway to do that. However, the downside of that was that we were creating, because of the configuration, some wall variances. We needed walls up to a height of approximately 12 feet in the front yard in order to construct that. So after the initial meeting that we had, it was discussed that we would remove that tunnel, and as a result of the removal of the tunnel, the walls that we have are back down to compliance with the ordinance. They're no greater than 6 feet in height.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Any questions by the board?
Did we put in the date of that map?
Why don't you just do that again?
No problem. The revision date on this exhibit is February 3rd, 2020.
Now, you filed that with the board?
The version that originally showed the break here, I believe was an exhibit at the November meeting, and then we just simply did the overlay of the fire truck template on top of it. So I don't know if it was entered as evidence or if it was submitted as a document. I would need a little help with that.
It was not previously submitted, which is why we want.
That map is February 3rd. And does it show the route of the fire truck on that map? I can't see it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chadwick. It's in red on this plan, and of course, as I look at it, it's nice and clear. I can bring it over to you if you'd like to see it. But it does. It shows in red.
I can see it now.
Yeah.
Again. Chaz, you've looked at this?
Our traffic department has reviewed the submission, and they're satisfied that the emergency vehicles can access the property.
Any other questions by the board? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given, please come forward. You have to come up, you have to identify yourself, and you have to use a microphone, okay? Use Mr. O'Neill's microphone, please. It's not working, I guess. It's not working?
It's working. Put it to
Just
your
speak
mouth.
loud into the
Put it
microphone.
in your face.
Close to mouth.
So my name is Narayana Maspale. I live in 133 Gillian Boulevard, Parsippany.
Can you spell your name?
Narayana. Narayana.
N.
N-A-R-A-Y-A-N-A.
And your last name?
Maspally. M-A-S-S-P-A-L-L-I.
Thank you.
This one, no, where is the property location?
The property location?
You
This
mean
is
the whole property where it's located?
On Route 10.
it's on the westbound side of Route 10.
Automil Plaza.
Yeah.
West. That's all I want.
Thank you. Any other members of the public have any questions? Please identify yourself. We know you, Nick, but please identify yourself.
Nick Homyak, Lake Hiawatha. I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's okay.
Where is this hook and ladder truck or how big is this truck and where is it located in the town, the distance from the?
We ran 2 simulations, one with a 40-foot ladder truck and one with a 3-axle ladder truck, which I believe is 47 feet, both of which are successfully traversed through the property. Their standard detail of trucks. They're not specific units of the town. We've met with the fire department on other applications, and it's our opinion that this is representative of the equipment that the township has.
Excuse me, because you just said they wasn't township equipment, now you say they have it.
What I'm saying is that the simulation was based on information, generalized information about ladder trucks. So if you do some research on certain model ladder trucks, you'll get the dimensions that we're using. And again, we used 2 simulations because we found that there was a 40-foot truck and then there was one that was a little bit longer at 47 feet. So we ran both of those simulations. And from our experience with working in Parsippany, it's our opinion that the equipment that we've been exposed to is consistent with this. It's not their truck per se,
So
but it's consistent with this.
you know that Parsippany's trucks are 47 feet or smaller.
I have to be careful about making that
Okay,
declaration.
but hold on for a second. Didn't the fire chief look at this? And is the fire chief satisfied that all necessary vehicles that could need to respond here can make its way in and out with no problems? I would assume so, right? Isn't that a criticality of this application? Like,
The
isn't
fire
it?
department has a provider report, yes.
They did.
This is answer a specific question from the board.
But
I understand that, but wouldn't that be a concern of the fire chief as well? And if he's satisfied with it, wouldn't he sign off on the fact that he's satisfied with
Yes, we've used
what
this
is laid out?
template with the fire department on prior applications.
Okay.
And this is fine. This is
Okay.
template.
Does that answer your question, Nick?
I'm still not. The town of Parsippany has both equipment that you used in this simulation. It's already paid for by the taxpayers of Parsippany. We own equipment to handle a fire at this location. And it's located where in Parsippany?
I have to answer it.
Perhaps I can help out with one question. The reason he's hedging is because if there's a fire, other fire departments sometimes respond.
Right.
So it's not just Parsippany. As you know, the Parsippany has a fire hall up at Powder Mill East, right across the way. But that doesn't mean that that's where the truck would come from, that would be the closest truck. And so we can't make exact representations regarding other pieces of equipment we haven't seen. But we can say that the Parsippany Fire Department is happy with the representation that we've made here using this template. But there is a possibility that other fire departments could respond with equipment we don't know anything about.
And
All right.
right, and
That's why he said-
but to your point, I mean, the lead jurisdiction is Parsippany.
Oh, yeah.
And so 10 out of 10 times, Parsippany is going to be the first responding jurisdiction at the facility. And whether there's mutual aid or not,
They're practically across the street, so
Right.
we would expect them to be the responsible.
And what would be the greatest fire hazard after this thing is complete? Is, besides just,
Yeah, I think you're going beyond.
this is
his
too many
capabilities.
hypotheticals. These are too many hypotheticals.
well, the 2 fire engines were hypothetical too, right? You said there was.
No, they weren't,
simulated-
sir.
They're real.
No? Okay, they're real, all right. But they're from,
Parsippany.
and the region.
This is a representation of
All right.
equipment that they
Okay.
want us to use. This is how they want us to show them that their equipment can get around. And they review these plans.
And they've submitted the letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
they send reports.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, come on up.
Hello? Yeah,
Hello?
question to the board members. So is this property is the Powder Mill Plaza West?
Is it what?
Powder Mill Plaza?
What?
West?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's So this already been approved to convert the plaza into the apartments buildings?
That's what they're here for.
That's what he.
That's what
what
they're
the
here for.
application is.
That's what they're presenting this information to us. That's
Okay.
what they'd like to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
So in
Sorry,
the
I'm sorry to
grid-
go, I'm
Yeah,
sorry
go
to go
ahead.
back to the fire thing. I see that we have all these reports, but the fire column is blank. I just want to know
Yeah.
if we're hearing that the fire department approved it, I just want to know.
Is there a report in here?
I did not see one.
Nora, do you know anything?
I believe that, they have a project going on where they are building a new firehouse, and they had packed up their plans, and they hadn't gotten a chance to look it over yet.
They haven't looked these plans over yet?
No.
So the statement that the fire department has approved it is not accurate?
I'm sorry?
Seems so.
Okay. So then,
That has to be revisited.
Well, any approval or resolution would require you comply with the fire
Happy
departments
to
and the
do that.
chiefs.
Happy to do that. I apologize. Guess I got my applications mixed up here tonight reading
you have
fire
one or two.
plans.
Yeah.
So, but, it's been a while for this one. But, we will comply with any, recommendations for the fire department regarding, equipment as well as, no parking fire zones, which is, the board knows, is something they're always looking at. So we'll comply with all those conditions, should the board see fit to, grant this approval.
Any other questions? Are we okay over here now with regard? Yeah, no, come on back up. I just want to make sure you guys have got enough information for you. Okay, we're good?
Yeah, last meeting we talked about they are going to provide the, the view
Would
of
you
the
speak up,
backyard of
please?
the people from the,
Okay, let him ask his question and then we'll address that.
in all honesty, I'm not crazy that we don't have a fire report for something of this magnitude. I couldn't promise that I would be ready to vote on something without that report.
I don't
I
disagree.
don't know
with
if,
you.
I don't know if it helps, but it just a reminder that this is a bifurcated application, right, Mr. O'Neill? So we're here for the use variance, but we will be coming back for the site plan.
That's correct.
yes, it's just,
And typically,
This is just the use? This is not site plan?
Yes.
You said there'd be a no parking zone for a fire.
I said that.
All right, so then in addition to whatever you said 180 car parking lot or whatever, you would need additional impervious surface?
No.
What, so it would be whatever the parking capacity you think needs plus a no parking fire zone?
No, they're gonna call out no parking zones in front of the building and on the ends of aisles, because they want to get their equipment around. So isn't that right, Mr. McClellan?
that is accurate. And to clarify the parking, taking the residential site improvement standards for the 180 units, we're required to have a minimum of 332 parking spaces. This happens to be a site where, because of the footprint of disturbance that's out there already, we're able to get an excess of parking, 411, which is an excellent idea here because if you're at overflow parking, there's no street parking here. So we have about 80 spaces beyond what the code requires.
And I don't know if this is relevant, will there be green infrastructure in all this impervious pavement?
I don't believe we're going to
I
have
understand the
impervious
question.
pavement.
You know, plants and flowers and trees to absorb the water and all that?
Isn't there some sort of common area in this parking lot?
There's a common area between the buildings. The towers was broken into two towers now. From a stormwater management perspective, it's two ways to answer the question. One from stormwater management, and again, we're not at site plan yet, so we haven't prepared all those details. But this design does reduce the impervious cover because we're actually taking away some of the paving around the perimeter and replacing it with green. So that strategy is already represented by the nature of this layout. When we get to the site plan application, there'll certainly be some landscaping proposed as well, which will serve that function as well. So it's, it's a little premature to show that because we're not here for that approval. But if we get through this part, that would be part of the next phase.
I only ask that in relation to, can you accommodate the green infrastructure, which is related to the stormwater runoff and your parking capacity?
The answer is yes. This site already has a substantial detention system at the back underneath the pavement from its previous development, and it actually, and since we are reducing the footprint of the impervious cover, that system will now work better because it has theoretically less water going to it.
And that system has been maintained this whole time?
To my knowledge, it's an active system.